we'll take a look at how we currently can do a rack case within Autocase. So before we get to the internals, we're just going to add 4 latches and 4 handles to this case. So we'll choose a latch from the library. We'll find a medium latch, something like this one here. The program will automatically offer us all the options of where it could go. And we'll choose the center anchor point and we'll leave the latch central, place that on the case, and then mirror that around. So you can either select the hardware or the work planes first. It doesn't make much odds. So we've selected our 2 work planes and now I'm going to select the hardware. So now we have 4 latches mirrored around case. And then if we come around to this right hand side and find a handle that we want to use. So I've chosen this handle. From an anchor point of view, probably if we want to keep these handles central on the height, but keep them close to one side, I'd use this anchor point and then move the handle over, central on the height, a little bit of space. And then once that's on the case, we can mirror that around as well. So now we've got 4 handles, 4 latches, and we could also put some feet on the bottom as well. So this one here would work, 16mm foot. Just like any other piece of hardware, we can decide where that's going to anchor from. Choose this top corner and I'm going to tuck it in. You could use a measurement, but I'm just going to tuck it in visually up here. And then again, we can mirror that. So just something to note, if you've clicked on a piece of hardware and then you use the view cube, it will rotate and view around that piece of hardware that you've selected. So I'm going to mirror, use this piece of hardware, and then that's going to go across this work plane and this work plane. Check on the underside, there they are. So now we're going to go into the internal view and add the rack strip in. So currently you need to manually calculate the height that you need for the size of rack strip. So once you've done your calculation, so in this example, I've already allowed 380mm, which will give me plenty of space for an 8U rack strip. So let's get into the internal design and then we can choose rack strips from the top and find an 8U. And what we do is we click on the face that we want to place that on. And then essentially doing is selecting a face and then selecting a second face or work plane. And then we have a measurement here. So currently we have 287mm here from the face to the work plane. And I want that to be 0 and then hit apply. That's important. So that's done the front referencing. We now need to reference the height. So go in and very carefully get a top flat edge. And then we'll use an inner case top face as well. So now we can see we have 10mm between those 2 faces. I can do less and hit apply, and that moves it up. And then I can hit my green tick. But what you will notice is we are now not central. We are higher than we are at the bottom. So we want to get that in the middle again. It was already in the middle before I changed it. So edit the rack strip. And we have this easy center Y. So you can see we've got a Y down here and we've got center Y. That automatically centers that for us. And then we hit the green tick. And then just like the external case, we can mirror. So click on the rack strip, click around on the work planes, and then the green tick. And they are now all placed. As you can see, central. And then if we come out of the internal design, you'll be able to see the holes that are programmed here are drilled on the panel and will appear on the DXF for the fixing holes. From an internal point of view, this is just a very basic example of the rack strip. However, you could add them individually or in pairs and use different work planes in order to create different positionings. Something to bear in mind currently, which will change at the end of this year, if you make this case bigger, the rack strip will simply move with the case but won't get any bigger. So you have to replace it with a bigger rack strip. But we have a new rack strip function coming at the end of this year, which will automate a lot of the rack strip functionality in Autocase.